This episode may contain content that could be distressing or objectionable to certain listeners. Please refer to the episode show notes for details. Discretion is advised. Hello! Welcome to Your Movie, My Movie with Dan and Steve.
I'm Dan.
And I'm Steve. This is a podcast where one of us picks a movie to watch and we discuss it together. In this episode, we're talking about one of Dan's picks, the 1984 movie Stranger Than Paradise. Starring John Lurie, Esther Ballant, Richard Edson, and Cecilia Stark. Written by Jim Jarmusch and John Lurie, and directed by Jim Jarmusch. We will be talking about spoilers, so if you want to watch the movie first, now's the time to do so. But before we talk about the movie, Dan, who would you recommend this movie to?
I would recommend this movie to The Restless Wanderers, The Strangers in Search of More, and the Slackers, the General Slackers.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and any petty crooks and criminals.
That makes sense.
and people thinking about going on vacation.
Well, all of those do find their...
In the winter to Cleveland. Sorry.
No, it's fine. No, all those people certainly do find their way to Florida one way or another.
It's true.
Yeah.
So, Steve.
Yes, Daniel.
Who would you recommend this movie to?
I would recommend this movie to anyone who wants to learn how to make a good movie fast, cheap, and with as little editing as possible. Right?
That's fair. That's valid. Actually, so I've only seen this movie twice.
Okay.
And the first time I saw it, it instantly became one of my favorite movies.
I can tell.
Yeah. But I have seen a lot of other Jim Jarmusch movies. Most of those I've only seen once as well. I don't usually rewatch movies, typically. But I was noticing a lot more of the technical aspects of this film on this viewing than the first time I watched it, which was just fun.
Yeah. So I noticed it right away that, there's no coverage, in any of the scenes. And the reason why I noticed it was because in my YouTube feed, there showed up a video of, what's his face? He talks like Zeus. He was in The Mandalorian.
I don't know.
And Jack Reacher.
I never watched The Mandalorian. Oh, Werner Herzog.
Yeah, Werner Herzog. Yeah. It was
Werner.
It was a video with Werner Herzog. And he was talking about, he was giving advice for young filmmakers, and he was like, yes, young filmmakers today, they always waste time shooting for the coverage. I've learned not to shoot with the coverage. Shooting for coverage is a waste of time. A director should know exactly what he wants to get on film, because back in my day, we had to pay for the film and we had to pay for the processing of the film. So we didn't shoot coverage, because when you shoot coverage, you realize how expensive that is going to be, so you didn't do it. But filmmakers today, they shoot too much coverage. They don't know how to be real filmmakers.
I kind of agree. I feel like, I mean, everybody can make a movie any way they want to, obviously. But at least in my taste, like, I used to make movies much more economically, much more quickly, and I used to not do coverage. And I kind of feel like I've gotten away from that, and I kind of wish that I could go back to that way. And I mean, I can go back to that way. I've just learned these other habits, of not, of shooting coverage, which, everything has its pluses and minuses. And I know you're a coverage guy.
I am.
Which is
Well,
not
I mean,
a bad thing.
Yeah, coverage will save your ass. Because there are times when, there's problems with the video recording or getting the sound to sync. And when that happens, coverage will fucking save your ass. And nowadays, with the digital recording of video and audio, there's really no reason not to. Except for time. So if you have the time to get coverage, you absolutely should. And sometimes, it does make, shooting for coverage, shooting with different angles, it'll make it more interesting. The cinematography more interesting. But on the other hand, I am a very, staged kind of guy, I'll just set up the camera and then let them go, let the actors go at it. So which is what this movie really appealed to me, that part of me. So the lazy part of me who doesn't want to do all those different angles and fancy camera work and so forth, which is why I suggest, if you want to make a movie that's very cheap and very fast and with little editing as possible, just do what this movie does: set up the camera, set it up in an interesting place, and then just have the actors go for 5 to 10 minutes. So
I fucking love it. I love it so much. And I forgot how, I mean, I guess jumping right into it, watching it this time, I realized how disconnected movies can be. Like, this movie is just a series of vignettes.
Yeah, but it's not that disconnected if you think about it. Like, there are time skips for sure, but they're just skipping all the boring stuff that doesn't matter.
Yeah, but like, it's just like it's like a no pressure film. Like,
oh, absolutely.
Like you see. Okay, so our characters are Eddie, Ava, and Willie.
Well, if we're going to get into it, you should do your 2-minute summary.
Ah, shoot. Okay. Okay, yeah, we should do it.
Okay.
Can you use your timer? Because my phone is being used currently.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. I'm ready to start when you are.
Okay, I guess I'm ready to start. Okay.
3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so New Yorker Willie is chilling in his apartment. He gets a call from his Hungarian aunt. His cousin is coming into town, and his cousin needs a place to stay for a while. His cousin Ava shows up from the airport. No, actually, he has to pick her up from the airport, I think, or something like that. Anyways, she shows up at the door. Anyways, his cousin Ava shows up, and he's like, whatever. and they have to, he lets her stay there for a while. Eventually, Willie's buddy Eddie comes over. They are introduced. And it's kind of like a series of vignettes and just the time passing while she's staying in New York. Then she has to go to Cleveland. A year later, Eddie and Willie decide to go to Cleveland to visit her. They go to visit
One
her,
more minute.
and they kind of like wander around the town a little bit. They talk to his Hungarian aunt Lottie. They go see Lake Erie in the dead of winter. And then they decide it's too freaking cold. So then they decide to drive to Florida. So then they take Ava and Eddie and Willie, and they all go to Florida. But then it's kind of like the same thing there. And they lose all their money in the dog tracks, and then they kind of leave Ava behind. Anyway, she decides to take an airplane back to Bulgaria or Hungary or whatever. And then they find out, and Willie goes and he tries to take an airplane. And then, Eddie's just kind of left there stranded, and we find out that Ava never got on the plane, but Willie did get on the plane. So everyone ended up splitting up on accident. It's kind of a wandering road movie.
Time.
Okay.
Hands down.
Okay.
Hands down.
I've stopped writing.
Okay.
My Scantron is not being touched.
Well, I was thinking about cooking competition shows. Hands down.
Do you know what a
plates.
Scantron is?
Yeah, of course. I went to college. I went to college with you. I took Scantron tests with you.
I forgot that wasn't only like a public school thing.
No. I even did it in private school before the millennium. I took Scantrons.
Really? Wow. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, that old.
They've been around for that long.
Yeah. Teachers have been phoning it in with multiple choice for decades now. Multiple choice tests,
as they should.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, considering
Christmas
how much they get paid, I don't blame them. So,
I don't blame them either.
Yeah. Okay,
so how was that summary?
It was pretty good. It was really good. It was very good.
Okay.
You didn't mention how Ava got her money to get the plane ticket, though.
No. We can talk about it.
Okay. That's probably my favorite part of the movie. I gotta remember that. That's the best Deus Ex Machina I have ever seen in a movie. They're broke, and she's just hanging out by the beach, and then this black guy comes up to her, starts yelling at her, saying, "Here's the money. Go tell what's his face that we're all good now," and he just walks away, and then she just has the money now.
But it's not just any black guy. It's the black guy with the coolest outfit, coolest hat, and the craziest space age mountaineering sunglasses.
Let's see.
Sunglass visors.
His name is Ramel Z. Or Ramel Z. I'm not sure exactly how you pronounce it. Ram LZ. Okay. And apparently he's a graffiti writer, painter, performance artist, art theoretician, sculptor, and a hip hop musician from New York City.
Wow.
So yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Anybody, you should just look at his profile picture on Wikipedia at an exhibition in the Grand Palais in Paris from 2009, and that will tell you the kind of personality this guy has.
He is amazing. I think he should have been in more movies.
Oh, absolutely. Well, there's a lot of people in this movie who should have been in more movies, because I love who is it? Richard Edson, who played Eddie.
Oh yeah, I mean, he is in more movies actually.
Well, yeah. Well, I just told you that the other day. I watched Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and he plays one of the parking attendants from that movie.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I love him in that movie.
Yeah, he's great. Him wearing a mustache just changes him wearing a mustache or not wearing a mustache just entirely changes the way he looks. So yeah, he was great. He's great. So.
Yeah, he's the parking attendant that just like kind of like stares them down and then just drives off with it after they walk away.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So where do you want to start? Okay, yeah, I don't know. There's so many different places. What do you love?
Well, one thing I love about having watched so many Jim Jarmusch movies is just it's like a Wes Anderson type of universe. Like all the people kind of get borrowed, either in other movies of his or in other New York movies at the same time. So like Richard Edson, I believe, is in Do the Right Thing.
Yeah.
Which is another New York movie at the same time. Jim Jarmusch actually went to school at NYU or something like that with Spike Lee. And so like they kind of give and take actors and they borrow. So it's a lot of fun to watch the like to see where, you know, John Lurie is going to show up, or, you know, we watched Paris, Texas, and John Lurie is in Paris, Texas for like 2.5 seconds, if you remember him.
What was he in Paris, Texas?
He was like the sex club manager or whatever.
Oh, okay.
He was just standing at the bar.
Okay. I think I know.
Yeah, I don't think he had any lines, but he's there. And also,
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
You go ahead.
Okay. Also, you know, Paul Schrader, you know, and even Martin Scorsese, they also borrow some of the same actors and stuff. Like John Lurie is in, you know, The Passion of the Christ. I mean, sorry, not The Passion of the Christ. The Last Temptation of Christ.
Easy to get those mixed up.
And he's in some other Scorsese movies as well, I think. But so it's always fun to see like the New York actors of this time getting, you know, it's seeing this time capsule, you know, through different perspectives and different movies by different filmmakers.
So real quick, I just want to go through a selected filmography of Richard Edson during the 80s. Okay.
Sweet.
First off is Stranger Than Paradise. But then we have Desperately Seeking Susan, Ferris Bueller's.
Oh, yeah, that's a
Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Great movie.
Howard the Duck. Platoon. Walker. Good Morning Vietnam. 8 Men Out. Tougher Than Leather. The Chair. Bloodhounds of Broadway. Do the Right Thing. Let It Ride. China Lake, and the TV series Monsters. So, like, he did 3 movies in 1989 and 3 movies in 1988. So, wow. 3 in 1986. So, yeah, he was like, I mean, like, he got small parts and like little cameos, but like, they put him in stuff. So,
yeah, and those are pretty big movies that he got put in. And, you know, like 8 Men Out, I was just listening to, you know, I think it's the WTF podcast. And, you know, he was interviewing one of the actors from that. Oh, I forget his name. Whatever. But
there's a lot of great actors in that movie.
Yeah, but that was like a big deal movie too, because that was like a, you know, like a make or break your career type movie.
Oh yeah. So some of the actors in that, John Cusack, John Mahoney, Michael Rooker, Christopher Lloyd, Charlie Sheen, David Strathairn, and D.B. Sweeney.
Yeah, I was listening to the Michael Rooker episode. Yeah, that's who it was.
Okay,
but
yeah.
No, huge cast.
Uh-huh.
I also just love the beginnings, because there's another movie that's another of my favorites by Jim Jarmusch, or another favorite movie of all time is Permanent Vacation, which is a movie he made before this in film school. And this one actually, I think this was also a film school project as well. The first.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Go ahead. He's.
It's going to take some practice, Daniel. It's going to take some practice.
We should tell the audience. I picked this movie.
Okay.
What? Go ahead.
No. You go. I thought you were going to say something different. Why did you pick this movie, Daniel? Why did you pick this movie?
God damn it. I picked this movie because it's a Florida movie, in a way. And also, it's a Jim Jarmusch movie, but I am no longer in Florida. I am now in North Carolina. So, this is now a virtual podcast, sadly. But we're adjusting to that. Yeah.
So yeah, you're not in Florida anymore. You missing us?
I can't. It was almost nostalgic watching them, with that at the hotels, the super Florida hotels. But yeah, I miss you guys a lot. North Carolina is really nice though. I don't miss the Florida weather.
Really? At least not in the summer. You don't. I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I like to be a little bit cold, but we'll see. It's not even. Not winter yet. We'll see. You'll have to ask me again in the winter. But I'm used to some cold, like visiting cold. I'm not used to like living in cold though.
Yeah. That's fair.
But yeah, this movie is. I wanted to watch this movie because I was racking my brain to what movie to pick, and I was feeling kind of uninspired by movies. So I was like, let me pick one that I know that I have a lot of passion about. And so I picked this one, and I'm glad I picked it for today.
Yeah, I'm glad you picked it too. I really enjoyed watching it.
Good. I didn't even I guess I never even heard your thoughts on it. Like, what did you think the whole thing? Like,
I thought it was good. This would be officially my second and a half Jim Jarmusch movie that I've watched. The first one that I've watched is Ghost Dog: Way of the Samurai, which I love. And I'm not, God damn it, I'm not afraid to love that movie. I know it's the typical pick, but God damn it, I am typical. I do have.
What do you mean?
Typical taste. Like it's the most mainstream of the Jim Jarmusch movies, from what I understand. It's like it's the least Jim Jarmusch movie that Jim Jarmusch has ever made. You know what I mean?
That is correct.
So, and that's the one I like. I think it's because it's also very mainstream. Like of his movies, I'm sure it has the most mainstream appeal. So I watched that.
I've only seen that movie once, and I hated it when I watched it because there's fucking sound effects when he ducks. And I need to watch it again and give it a better chance, and try to like it, because it's not the same type of Jim Jarmusch movie, So I got to give it another try.
Well, it's okay if you don't like it. That's perfectly okay.
But there are things I did like about it. But I was just like, this fucking sound effects is not. It's not how you do an action movie.
Well, yeah, but there's a lot of things in that movie that you typically don't do in an action movie, though. So
That's true. But also, they just sounded awful, and they made me laugh when I was not supposed to laugh.
I think for that movie, I think it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. You can laugh whenever you want to in that movie. And I also watched part of, what is it, Coffee and Cigarettes?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I think the last vignette of that I watched was it was like the brother and sister.
The twins?
Yeah, the twins. And then I got very sleepy and decided to turn it off and take a nap.
Understandable.
Yeah. and then this one. So this one is my second and a half Jim Jarmusch movie. So
you've never seen Dead Man?
No, I have not seen Dead Man. But I know that the guy from Dead Man, the Native American from Dead Man who says "stupid fucking white man," he's in Ghost Dog because he says the same thing in Ghost Dog. And he's also in the TV show Forever Night, which is about a vampire detective, and it was filmed in Canada, and he's a Canadian Native American First Peoples actor, and so he was in that TV show.
Whoa.
Yeah.
He's also in recently Reservation Dogs.
Okay.
And he what else? There's a really famous Native movie that he was in as well, but I don't remember what it is this time.
Okay, I think he's also in an episode of The West Wing.
Let me look it up.
Okay.
Smoke Signals. He's in Smoke Signals.
Okay.
Which is I think and Sioux City.
Okay.
Yeah, that's I'm trying to look at the older ones. Well, yeah, I think Smoke Signals is the most probably important one of the most important. No, what am I talking about? I don't know. No, Powwow Highway. That's what it is. Powwow Highway. There we go.
Okay.
All right. Sorry about that. His
That's
name
fine.
is Gary Farmer.
Yeah. Great actor. He's a great actor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I love Jim Jarmusch. I've seen almost all of his movies. Well, actually, I've seen the majority. I wouldn't say almost all. There are still like 3 or 4 that I need to see.
Okay.
I wish I had like more interesting taste than just, white guys from New York in the 80s, but it is what it is.
Mm-hmm. It's fine.
Go ahead.
So how do you want to get started? Where do you want to start?
Let's talk about the construction of it.
Okay, 30 minutes in, and then I'm asking you how we should start.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We already started. I don't know.
It's fine. It's okay. Yeah, you want to talk about the structure? You mentioned before, like the first part. The first part was a short that he did. And I believe it was because I did a little bit of research. I did just, this is on Wikipedia. And so, yeah, he did the first part, the first act of this movie was a short that he did called Stranger Than Paradise. And then it got around the film festival circuit. And then afterwards, he was able to get the resources to make it a full feature length movie. And so that's why, there are title cards that separate the 3 acts. The first act is called The New World. And that was the short film. And then 1 year later is the second act. And then the third act is Paradise. So, and I think it's really cool, that he was able to make a short film and then expand on it to make it feature length. I think that's great.
Yeah, and it's interesting too because it's like a lot of movies they do that, but this movie, the short film, is in the final film.
Yeah, exactly.
It's part of it.
Yeah, exactly. Like for Whiplash, the short film for that was just a proof of concept in order to get the funding to make the feature length film. But in this, no, he that short film is the first act, and then he filmed the second and third acts the same way that he filmed the first act, and then just added on to it, which was great.
Yeah, I love it. It's great. And again, watching it this time, there is zero coverage in the entire movie.
Mm-hmm.
It is all shot in master one-er takes.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of what you would consider the Jim Jarmusch style. There's a lot of room between lines. There's not much talking a lot of the time. There's a lot of silence, a lot of dead air, a lot of just characters being in the same space, taking up time, and filling time, killing time, whatever.
Yeah, but that being said, the movie is a lot faster paced than you would think it would be while doing all that stuff. No scene like your average scene is like I would say like 3 to 6 minutes long. So there is a certain level of fast pacedness to it. And you're right, like there is like essentially dead air, but it doesn't overextend itself too long, and it also like does all those time skips, which helps keep the pace fast. So it feels like you're only watching the important parts of this movie, and no scene ever overstays its welcome. So I think this is a great movie to watch if you do like to have, those kinds of scenes where nothing seems to happen. This is a great movie to watch to see how you can pace a movie that way without it getting boring. So,
yeah. I mean, it's weird because it feels fast paced because there's stuff going on, but it also feels slow paced, even though it's only an hour and like 29 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like this weird double-edged coin or double-edged sword.
Yeah, absolutely.
One thing I noticed while watching it this time was how many times I saw the boom or the reflection of the boom in the shots.
Okay.
It was so much fun. And, like, that's another thing I was like, as filmmakers, we get so worried about things and it has to be perfect. It has to be this and that. This movie changed the landscape of independent cinema in the 80s and 90s. And, there's like 3 shots where you can see the boom operator.
Mm-hmm. But you know what? I didn't notice that at all because I was just, watching and seeing what happened, but so after I watch a couple of times though, I'm sure I'll get bored enough to where I'll like look in the other spaces for what's going on. So, but on the first watch, you just want to see what's going on, and I didn't notice that stuff at all. So,
which is perfect, which is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
But that was I guess another part of the construction or the structure of it. I guess that's not structure, it's more how it was made, the production of it.
Yeah.
It's also interesting how self-contained it was and how many, how economical they were. This is an extremely economical film.
Absolutely.
The locations, the amount of actors, pretty much everything.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest set piece was probably whenever they have the camera on the street for like one shot where it's like a dolly shot, and then at the airport in the end.
Yeah.
And they do have a restaurant shot, and I guess they have a movie theater shot too.
Yeah.
But again, that's one shot at a restaurant, and one shot at a movie theater.
Mm-hmm. That could be that could be 2 takes and they're done.
2 takes and they're done. They could get out of there. If they rehearsed it outside of the movie theater, they could get out of the movie theater within like an hour.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I guess setting up and tearing down, you probably have 2 hours.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So yeah, yeah, like I said, that's why this is such a great movie to watch. If you want to do a cheap movie, just don't do anything, don't do anything. And it's what I try to get our classmates to understand when doing our student films. Don't do anything fancy, just, you can do really great things just by being basic and getting your fundamentals down. So,
but in that he had interesting shots, like he had, expressive production design and shots, and it wasn't so basic that there was no style to it.
No.
It was just basic in the sense of, saving them work, saving them time and money.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, and they might have took some rehearsal time to, get the actors stuff down, the blocking and all that down, because these are long takes and there's no cuts between them. So they did have to get everything from that scene in a at least one good single take. So which can be hard. Yeah, and can be hard. Yeah, that can be difficult to do too. So yeah.
What I've read about Jim Jarmusch's process is that he'll write extra scenes that don't end up in the movie, sort of as, I guess, character backstory, or building out the characters with extra details, which I think is interesting. I mean, you do get a clear. I guess we can talk about characters now.
Okay,
if it's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I think that's another thing that stands out about this movie, is just how well defined the characters are. In a way, for what the movie is, for how many lines of dialogue there are in the movie, the characters are pretty well defined, I think. You have, Willie, who's like sort of, I don't know, scoundrel type grouch, small time criminal, but not, yeah, and he's actually he's from Hungary.
He even has a Hungarian name.
Yeah. But none of his friends in New York, know that. Yeah, so he's got an interesting setup as a character. Then you got Eddie, which is Willie's best friend, and partner in crime, who's kind of like a very like smiley, happy-go-lucky, codependent type, who just follows him around and is just happy to be there, kind of. And he's got, I guess, a sort of crush on what is it, Ava? And then you have Ava, who is Ava is independent. Well, actually, in the description it says that she's 16, coming from Hungary.
Oh wow,
which is crazy. So she's,
they look older back then.
But her character is very strong, independent, willing to go out in New York City on her own, and even get a job later on. And anyways, just a spunky person. It's interesting too. I know I mentioned the actors borrowing each other. She's in oh my gosh, what is this freaking name? Oh my gosh, Steve Buscemi.
Okay.
She's in a Steve Buscemi movie called Trees Lounge, which he directed and starred in.
Okay.
She's in that with him, which is I thought was really funny and weird. Anyways, Oh, one more random connection is that John Lurie like knew Basquiat really well.
I
which think is really fun.
just saw that in Esther Balant's like Wikipedia article. Like she was living with the avant-garde squat theater troupe in New York City, founded by her father when she first met Jean-Michel Basquiat. They became involved while he was filming Downtown 81. So Balant was brought into the studio by Basquiat to play violin on the influential hip-hop record Beat Bop by Ramel Z and K-Rob.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, all kinds of connections going on here.
Yeah, Basquiat used to like sleep on John Lurie's floor, apparently.
Okay.
And like just do heroin with him.
Oh my god.
Or something like that.
I can imagine.
Yeah. I heard that from a Painting with John episode because John Lurie just recently started making a TV show on HBO. Kind of like in 2020 area.
You talk about that a lot, Daniel.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
No. It's okay. I mean, not really on the podcast, I don't think, but outside of it. Yeah. I know you like John Lurie.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
Absolutely, you are. That's okay.
But anyways, okay, back to the characters.
Yeah, back to the characters.
Even Aunt Lottie is a highlight of the film.
This
aging Hungarian woman.
What's her last line? Son of a bitch. When they come to take Eva away, she knows. Yeah, she doesn't trust them.
Absolutely not.
Son of a bitch. And how bad did you feel for Billy?
Billy, oh my gosh. Yeah, Billy's great too. I felt so bad for him. They pick Ava up from her work and Billy's there too, and he's like, did you want to go to the movies? And she's like, what's showing? Is there a kung fu movie? And he's like, I don't know. And she's like, well, go check and then call me, and then then maybe we'll go. And then they show up, and it's also Eddie and Willie show up too, and Eddie is sitting in between Billy and Ava. Yeah,
well, the way it is from theater audience right to left is there's Willie and then Ava and then Eddie and then Billy. So they weren't going to let him sit near Ava, and it's a great scene because Billy has a big bucket of popcorn. And then he reaches over Eddie so that Ava can get some, and then she gets some. And then as he pulls it back, Eddie tries to, gets a handful too.
Yep, and it's a huge handful.
Yeah, it's great. I feel so bad for that guy. And then you find out in the next scene. They all arrive to the theater in Willie's car, and then Billy is out, and he's like, bye Ava, and then Willie's like, hey man, Billy says, oh well, thank you for taking me, thank you for being my ride, and then Willie says, yeah, no problem, thank you for paying for all of us. It's like, oh man.
Yep.
And then he goes, hey Ava, can you walk me to the door?
So funny.
Yeah, it's very funny.
I love the card playing scene too. You get these. It's one, again, a oneer of Willie and Eddie playing cards with, a bunch of, a table of poker players in somebody's house. And Willie and Eddie are cheating. And
are they cheating?
It's just like, yeah, they're cheating, and they leave with the money. How
do you know they're cheating though?
Because doesn't Eddie say something like, we shouldn't hang out in the hallway? Oh, I don't know. They act guilty as all hell, and like,
Oh, okay.
why wouldn't they be cheating? They
Well, that's fair too. That's fair as well. Yeah, and then that guy just goes off on him. Now apparently the guy who goes off on him, he's an actor and a stand-up comedian, and he goes by the name of Rocket's Red Glare.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. And he was also
in another Jim Jarmusch movie.
Well, he was also he was in After Hours and Desperately Seeking Susan, apparently.
Oh, wow. I just watched After Hours recently. I didn't recognize him. But he's also, I think, in Down by Law, which is a Jim Jarmusch movie.
Yeah, and he's also in Trees Lounge, which you mentioned.
Yeah.
And he was also in the movie Basquiat. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, he's fantastic in his small little scene.
Yeah. He tries to steal the show.
They all just, yeah.
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 Mm-hmm.
They all just, I think they're really well, really well cast, and they all just,
Mm-hmm.
evoke more than they appear on the screen. You get a sense that they have history and depth,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
even though they don't.
Well, I mean, when you cast somebody who is the character, it's very easy. It's very easy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it says like the first thing it says about him in the Wikipedia article is Red Glare was born Michael Mora in New York City to a heroin addicted 15-year-old mother. So,
goodness gracious.
Yeah. So he's a tough guy.
Yeah.
Like even for New York. So yeah. After his mother was killed by her boyfriend, Moore took up the stage name Rocket's Red Glare from the fifth line of the U.S. national anthem. So
that's crazy.
Very crazy.
I also like, do you want to talk about the script at all?
Yeah.
I like some of the lines in this movie a lot. I just, yeah, he's got a poetic way of writing, even though it's pretty small and sparse. Let's see, I wrote down a few.
So about the TV dinner, Eva asks, where does the meat come from? I guess it comes from a cow. Doesn't even look like meat. Well, this is how we eat in America. I got my meal and I don't even have to wash the dishes. And then Eddie sees Willie, and Eddie goes, talking about Ava, she's cute. And then Willie goes, shut up, man. Do you have a vacuum cleaner? It's really dirty in here. The vacuum cleaner is under the bed. Will you help me change the bag? I'm sure it's fine. It hasn't been used in years.
Seems like if I don't tell you what to do, you don't do anything at all.
This is probably like, I think this might be the best line is when Willie tells Eddie, I never knew you were from Hungary or Budapest. I thought you were American. And then Willie goes, I'm as American as you are. And then Eddie asks, does Cleveland look a little like Budapest? And Willie goes, "Shut up!" And also, what does he do? He does it for like Miami, where Eddie just like lists all the things. Well, first, when was it?
He does it for Cleveland first.
Oh yeah, he does it for Cleveland first. Like lists all the things that are in Cleveland, and I think he does it to Eva. And then Eva asks, "Have you ever been to Cleveland?" And Eddie goes, "No."
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, you're going to Cleveland? It's beautiful. They got that beautiful lake, great downtown scene." And she's like, "Have you ever been there?" And he's like, "No."
Yeah. And he does it for Florida too.
Mm-hmm. It's beautiful. It's lovely.
Yeah. There's some great.
He's just like he's just like a perfect smiling optimist. Like they get to like.
Well, I think he's just trying to get on Ava's good side the entire time. It's like what most of it is, So.
Yeah, but he's also like so happy-go-lucky and kind of dim-witted and optimistic too.
Well, he's certainly a bit dim-witted, but yeah. When they go to Lake Erie in the middle of winter and it's completely frozen and it's a black and white movie, so all you see is just white in the background. It's like, oh, so beautiful here.
Look at all this beautiful snow.
That's what he says. Yeah.
I also love that scene. So in the first part, when Ava shows up, anyways, whenever she leaves and she goes to Cleveland, she leaves for the airport, and Eddie comes in. Well, first off, we cut to Willie in the apartment alone, and he's just like leaning up against the counter, just like staring off into the middle distance, just kind of like thinking. And then Eddie comes in, and then they just like, he's like, "You want a beer?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." And so they just start. They just open up the beers in complete silence, and
and it was those old
taking sips.
It was those old pull tabs too. Yeah, the ones that you pull completely off. Yeah,
but just that weird boredom that this movie has. It's boredom, and it's just like the meandering pointlessness of life sometimes,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, Eddie has the most. Sorry, one sec.
Okay.
Eddie has the most famous line in the film in the end. Oh, come on, where is it?
What the hell are you going to do in Budapest?
No, it's son of a bitch. Yeah, sorry, it took so long, but here it is. Okay. You come to someplace new and everything looks just the same.
Oh yeah. I wrote that down too. Yeah, that's a great line.
Yeah.
That's
the whole theme of the movie, because they go from New York to Cleveland and then Cleveland to Florida, and then they're still the same people. They're at a room in New York City, and then they go to a room in Cleveland, and then they go down to a room in Florida. But I got to be honest with you, sometimes that's just the kind of vacation I need. True. What does Willie say? He says, sometimes you just got to go to someplace new, And so I want to tell you, since we're kind of talking about it now, the hotel in Florida, I love their hotel room in Florida, especially how it has like a bed that's also a couch, but it also has a bed that's a chair, and part of it is under the desk, and so you just roll it out, and then the backrest for the chair is like a pillow that you can take off. I think that's awesome. Oh, it's so great. It's so freaking great. And then when you see the other side of the room, it's cool too. It's like that 60s, 50s, like, blocky style. It's got like, the TV, and then a place for the radio. It's like this blocky sort of I don't know, desk, what you'd call it, like media stand or whatever. But it just looks fantastic, and all the interior design in the hotel is exactly the time and place of Florida, from the 1950s, or left over from the 50s or 60s. It's lovely.
Yeah, like the door to the hotel, it's a door, and there's like a cutout, and that cutout is blocked by panes of frosted glass.
Yeah.
And then I just know like there's a thing that you can turn to open up those panes so you can see out and to let the air in. I know because my house used to have a door just like that until like the late 90s. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
I stayed when I first moved to Florida. When I was like 15, we rented a place in a 55 plus community, like a trailer park, like a mobile home park.
I was just thinking about those places in my head because those places absolutely have them.
Yep, they had those doors.
Yeah.
And they also had the same like style of interior design. It's so funny.
It's great. It's great. Well, talking about it, like you're saying how the hotel room looks like it's from the 50s. Well, Eddie and Willie, they dress up like guys from the 50s, even though it's 1984. So
yeah, that's what
and the cars from the 50s too, right?
Yeah, I don't know if this movie is supposed to be set in the 50s or not, but
well, it can't be because the guy has like a big plastic like J.C. Penney's bag, for the dress that he brings to Ava, So yeah. I think he just likes to have. He just wanted this movie to have those kind of anachronisms, so that way it feels like timeless in a way. So, or to evoke like that,
Americana.
Yeah, well, Americana, but also like things have not changed. You've mentioned and you drive through the Everglades, how it looks like everything's from the 1980s. But the thing is like, that's not a good thing. It's like time is stuck there, which is also kind of another theme too. They're stuck where they are at, and they were seeking an escape to somewhere else. That's why Ava goes from Hungary to New York to Cleveland. That's why Willie and Eddie go from New York to Cleveland to Florida. That may be why Willie goes to Budapest,
Yeah.
So, and so, that kind of, like not wanderlust, but, not having any satisfaction in the place that you're at, kind of feels like a theme of the movie.
Totally. Yeah, I think it's that wandering, restless feeling. Yeah. It's just I just love this movie so much. I love the card playing. They play cards with Aunt Lottie. He plays solitaire with himself, and he's like, I've been losing all day. And I just love and they have It's just great. It's great.
It is great.
I think the parts that don't work to me are that weird bit where they like pull up and ask a factory worker for directions, and they're like, "Where do you work?" And he's like, "I work in a factory." And they're like, "Man, that must suck." It's like, I pity that guy.
Well, I mean, it kind of shows their place in the world, and how they feel about being a part of the rat race, but I mean, they're not any better. I mean, they lost their money at the racetrack, so, sure, they're not working at a factory, but then again, they're scoundrels, and those guys will never play cards with them again. So it's not much better, Mm-hmm.
True.
So it sounds like we're kind of winding down. But I just wanted to say, you remember that scene where it's at the beginning where Ava and Willie are watching TV and he's trying to explain American football to her. And then she's like, "Oh, that's a game." And he says, "Just shut up and watch it." Well, after that, it goes to, like, you can tell it's at night. And it sounds like there's kind of a scary movie playing, and like the only light source is from the TV screen itself. Do you know what movie is playing?
What movie?
I could tell just by the dialogue. It was Forbidden Planet with Leslie Nielsen. And
I was gonna guess that. I should have guessed it. I'm such an asshole.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Now I've only seen that movie like maybe 2 or 3 times, but like, that dialogue that they use, it's so iconic that I picked it up right away. So, yeah.
I've seen it once. It wasn't my favorite, but it was fun, and it had some cool things about it.
I mean, it was revolutionary for the time. I mean, like with the special effects and stuff. So, yeah. J. Michael Straczynski, the creator of Babylon 5, he's always wanted to remake that movie.
Oh, that would be cool.
I know. That'd be great.
Oh man, I wanted to talk about another aspect of the movie. I forget what I was going to talk about it.
Okay.
Oh yeah. The photography of it, the cinematography, is great. I'm almost done, but just there's the way that they light it. They have interiors, and they kind of like just put random stuff in front of the lights, and like just like little bits of light just fall onto the walls, and it's not super consistent, but it's all pretty soft, and it creates a texture in this, in their limited area, their small settings and stuff. He did a really, really great job. I don't think he did. I think he maybe did this one and then his first film. Mm-hmm. Okay, so he did Stranger Than Paradise, a few things from Coffee and Cigarettes, and Permanent Vacation. He did some other movies as well.
As cinematographer?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think he also acted in this movie, or was in the background or something like that.
Okay.
But I think he just did a great job. And it's simple, but it really wouldn't be a movie without the lighting and the setups that they did.
One of my favorite shots of this, there was the Lake Erie shot, which was just great because it's black and white, and because of all that snow, it's like the background is just completely blowed out. And so you just get that real sense of like just cold and snow and how terrible it is there. But my other favorite shot is one where they're in Florida, and it's Ava, and she's alone in the hotel room in Florida. And she opens one of the doors, and when she opens the door, you can tell that there's more light outside than what the exposure for the camera is. So when she opens the door, it's like a little blowed out, but then she closes it again, and then it goes back to normal. And I just thought that was really, really neat. He didn't change the exposure when that happened or anything. He just let it be, but it's still perfectly fine. So yeah, that was a shot that, I mean, just the visual of it, just struck with me. So, and I also did like the shot where, like I said, where they're watching Forbidden Planet, and so it's just the TV screen providing the lighting for it.
That's my desktop screensaver.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
That's great.
I also love the shot where Willie and Eddie are coming out of the poker match and they stop in the hallway to count their money. It's like this really cool, like high shot looking down on them. You get these like cool shadows in this tile, and they're wearing their 50s clothes. It looks directly from like a noir movie. It's fun, and it works well.
You know what? Like the thing, what I would have loved to have seen though, is the way he shot the interior car scenes. Because he must have had like such a small camera for that, but they also had to record the sound.
I was wondering how they got the sound too.
Yeah. I mean, they must have. I wonder if they like used like lavs or wired lavs, because we know how tough it is to get a boom pole inside the back of a car.
Yeah, they definitely didn't boom it. They had probably like either a hidden mic or lavs.
Yeah, and even then, if the boom guy can't be in the back, because then he can't record sound that way anyways. So yeah.
And I was wondering how they got the car shots. They had a camera rig a few times because the camera's on the outside of the car. I was wondering if they had a whole trailer for it and whatnot.
Yeah, that's something I was wondering too. Like, did they get a process trailer or like some other tow car for all those scenes? They must have,
Maybe, but I mean, if you watch Wim Wenders movies at the same time, he made Paris, Texas. In Germany, they had this crazy rig that they just attached to the car, and there was a guy like riding on the outside of the car, like in like a little rig strapped in. It's just like this tiny German car. So I mean, I don't know, maybe, but maybe not.
Yeah, but who would be driving the car? The actors?
Yeah, the actors. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
It's truly independent cinema.
Either that or just dangerous and dangerous to film cinema. Yeah.
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 Oh, I don't want to make a tasteless joke. Was this before or after Twilight Zone the movie?
I don't know.
Should I cut that out?
You can leave it in. I think
okay.
It's fine.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
Well,
yeah. We're kind of the raw audio is about an hour and 15 minutes, which I don't think that's so bad. It's a little light for a movie that we like this good. But I also think if you're listening to this and you're interested in watching the movie, you should absolutely watch it. It's a great watch. It's like Coffee and Cigarettes in the way that it's like a bunch of vignettes, but because like Alice has said, because it moves from different location to different location, it's still very interesting visually. And I think, that's why it was easier for me to watch this movie than it was for me to watch Coffee and Cigarettes. And Dan, I know you like that it, dwells and gives scenes time to breathe, but I also don't think that it takes too much time doing that, which is why it stays interesting. So yeah, I just think like if you're interested in this movie, you should go watch it.
Yeah, totally. And I do want to say that this movie is heavily influential on me and my approach to watching movies. Because when I first watched this movie, I was blown away by, sort of the lack of urgency, the lack of, conventional plot in a way. And it is a pretty conventional plot, it's just, it's so, the philosophy behind it, you could tell, was so different from, Hollywood at the time.
It is a very
even now.
approachable movie for mainstream audiences, I think.
Yeah, but
You
it's a good introduction into independent cinema, I think.
Absolutely.
And it kind of like lit my brain on fire and made me want to make these types of movies.
I know. Well, it did the same to me too. Like, it's like, hey, I can make this kind of movie. So Daniel, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
You have to make a movie in this style. Where it's the camera, it never moves. You film no coverage, and it's all has to be like mediums, medium wides. And that's it, no coverage. What plot would you make up for doing that kind of movie?
Ah, man. I don't know. Like, I've thought about this for a long time, and I've come up with ideas, but then they leave my brain.
Okay.
I mean, this is what Clerks is too, right? Like this is like like you could do this in a grocery store. You could do this, teenagers in the summertime killing time. I mean, this is the style of Linklater as well, almost. I don't know.
Gun to your head.
I guess I would do just a kick and shit summertime movie.
Okay, well, like, what do you mean by a chicken shit summertime movie?
Like kids during the dog days of summer just killing time.
Oh, you're like your Shane and Jane movie?
Yeah, this movie directly inspired Shane and Jane.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Or like a George Washington type, but a little bit more funny and fun.
Okay.
But that type of, kids and, restlessness and just killing time.
I gotcha.
How about you, Steve?
Oh, I would definitely make it a road movie. I would make it a road movie so that way you can have those interesting locations. But the plot that I would do is that it's two guys and a girl driving to a Magic the Gathering tournament.
You said driving to a Magic the Gathering caravan or
a tournament?
Convention? Oh, tournament. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so exennial of you, Stephen.
Thank you. I mean, and I just know the formula that I would do. The formula I would do is like every odd numbered scene is like just them talking about Magic the Gathering and like going in depth on stupid stuff about it, like like mana curve, card advantage, stuff like that. The theory for these like trading card games, and then every even numbered scene would just be like something random and mundane.
I like it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I'm a hack writer, and my brain thinks in formulas.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I don't know.
Exactly.
I love I've always wanted to make a movie like this, and I've always tried to make a movie like this, but I've always, fallen short. And I think the thing about this movie that I love is, again, that non-urgency, it's a philosophy of just sort of laid backness. It reminds me of when I used to visit my grandpa and grandma in Ohio. And just in the wintertime, even in the summer, but mainly in the winter, you just I would just watch my grandpa just sit in this chair and look out the window for like a half an hour. And then, sometimes he'd fall asleep. Sometimes he'd just read the paper. And it was just like this, it's just like this peacefulness almost. It's not necessarily that there's peace in this movie, but it's just this.
I know what you mean.
Lack of urgency. This just being alive is okay,
Mm-hmm.
And I want to make a movie like this, but I think I need to get there as a person first. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair. I think what you would need to do for a movie like this, is to because what makes this movie work is that it has a through line for each act. A rough plot. So like the rough plot in the first one, the first one is kind of the roughest, because it's just Ava and Willie alone together in their apartment. But in the second act, it's Willie, and Eddie, deciding to travel from New York to Cleveland and then visiting with Eva. So like that's a through line. And then the through line for the third act is them getting to Florida and then, trying to get out again. But the thing is that even though each of those acts have those through lines, other scenes in it they go away from it and they talk about other things, which is what gives it that meandering quality to it. And so that's why I said, like with my own movie, the whole movie would be about them trying to get to a magic tournament, but then that would be like every odd scene, but every even scene would just be like something completely different. So maybe that's how you could approach it yourself.
And that's, it's actually interesting that you watched Ferris Bueller not too long ago, because that movie is similar to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a plot, but it also has meandering, and the plot is inconsequential to their dialogue half the time. They're just talking about stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're talking about what's happening in the moment, which is the theme of that movie.
Yeah.
But what's really funny about that movie is that and I just found out about this, is that it was edited out of order.
Oh yeah, I found out about that too. That's so fun, right?
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Because it's like, let's see, I think like they went to the art museum first, and then they went to the restaurant. Wait, is that right? And then they did. Hold on, now I'm getting it totally confused.
Maybe we should cut this out. I don't know.
No, it'll say in. Anyway, Ferris Bueller's Day Off was edited out of order. Go find the YouTube video that actually talks about that. They know what they're talking about regarding that more than we do. So, yeah. But this is great that you brought up Ferris Bueller's Day Off and comparing it to this movie, because they're very much the same but also very much different. So yeah. Before we go, we'd like to give a shout out to the bestest friends of the show on our Patreon. Thank you, Brian, for your support of the show. If you'd like to be one of our bestest friends of the show, then check out our Patreon page at www.patreon.com/yourmoviemymoviepodcast. And thanks for listening.
Yeah, I just freaking love this movie, and I want to make a movie like this, but I also I need inspiration. Like I don't know how. Anyways, it'll be whatever.
That's okay. Yeah. I'm sure you'll get to it one day. So yeah,
maybe one day.
Maybe.
Shall we call it?
Yeah. Any other final thoughts? Or did you just state them?
I think I just stated them. Heavily inspiring movie. Watch it. Get inspired. Yeah. Good Florida movie. I'm gonna try and pick another Florida movie for my next pick.
Okay.
Just for shits and gigs.
Okay. Yeah, my final thought for this movie is go watch it. It's worth it.
Hell yeah.
All right. Bye.
Bye.